I'm looking some more at some of these wonderful photographs and books, and I want to pull out this one right here. And I want to talk about how a lot of the people that we've worked with are not necessarily here with us.
Yeah, that's a shot from Mahogany, from the film with Diana Ross and Billy Dee Williams. And we were the three campaign managers that worked along with Billy Dee. So throughout the film, I've got a couple of speaking roles, like in the van and someplace in one of the offices. But Leonard Norris, who's to my right in this picture, was an incredible actor, and he died shortly after that film was done. Jerome, I'm not sure what happened to Jerome. He's to my left. He was one of the actors that we picked up from the neighborhood. Because one of the other things that I've attempted to do, even when we were doing films, was make sure that we included people that were local. And which is why on almost every major project that we've done, we have included young people as mentors so that we can pass this process on, because we're gonna be gone, you know? So how do we sustain the development of people to make sure that the work is continued? That's the one of the last scenes from Mahogany.
This one right here?
Yeah, and that's, I had to point this out, that is you right there.
Yes.
And that is me right there.
Yes.
And that's Billy Dee, and that's Berry Gordy.
Yes. And
that was at the rally when Diana Ross shows up, and they make up at the end, they kiss, and they...
And this is probably another job that wouldn't have been a job that you would have taken had you not had the accident.
That is true.
What's going on here?
I moved to California and was trying to decide what we would do. Our son wanted to go into the entertainment business. We decided to leave Arizona and move over. And at your request, I think, I was looking in the newspaper and I saw a listing for a job at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, which is the hospital to the stars in LA, and it's a Jewish hospital. And I said, well, you know, I'm not going to apply for this. And you said, no, you should. What can they do? Say no. So I applied for the job and I got it. The head of their medical media division produced over 300 industrial films, shot the first series of projects around HIV and AIDS, shot one of the first open heart surgeries, one of the first surgeries centered around tennis elbow. I ran that department for 10 years and designed their interactive television system, which is what this story was about. It was the cover of AV Multimedia magazine in 1999, and it was based on the work that I had done in terms of developing that interactive television system. I don't know why my life has been what it has, and to even be 70 is rather daunting because I don't feel 70. I feel that I've done a heck of a lot. But to look back and say, this has been a joyride for me, it has, you know, because it's been diverse. I have met incredible people. We've raised a family. I'm still married after all these years to a wonderful person. But if someone was to ask me, what is the most outstanding memories?
Okay, just pretend I asked you that.
Okay.
Okay.
Why don't you ask me that?
What are some of your most outstanding memories?
The first one that comes to mind, is being in rehearsal with Gladys Knight. I directed a show with her called Madam Lily. And to be at her house.
I think I remember recommending you as a director for that.
You did. And the reason that they gave me that job is because they didn't know we were married.
There you go.
Right? They didn't find that out until we were on the road. Yeah. And so, but to sit in Gladys's house, just me and her, at a rehearsal, and at a piano, and her playing the piano and singing, I can't beat that one.
Since I know that she was one of your favorites from forever, and we had no idea that our paths would take us to a point, an opportunity to work with her as it did. So I could imagine for you, that was incredible.
It was absolutely incredible. or to work with us, or
Okay.
the next one that comes to mind is we did a play called A Son Come Home. And there's a line in Son Come Home that says, 2 hours down the Jersey Turnpike. The trip beginning at the New York Port Authority terminal and then straight down through New Jersey to Philadelphia and home. Just imagine, the son's come home. So I went to visit my sister in Philadelphia, and I said, okay, 2 hours down the Jersey, I can go to New York. Now I was 22, something like that. And I said, okay, so I'm gonna go to New York. I had $200, and I jump on the bus, and I go to New York. I get off the bus. I look up at the skyscrapers right outside of Madison Square Garden. I said, wow, I'm in New York. And I look down, and I see Muhammad Ali, Oscar Brown Jr., and David McKnight, who was an actor from Chicago. They were doing Big Time Buck White on Broadway. And I got to hang out with them for the whole time I was there.
Timing.
In Muhammad's suite.
Wow.
It was...
Couldn't have planned it.
Couldn't have planned it. And it was an incredible opportunity. Or to work with 3 black blind men. I worked with Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, and Rahsaan Roland Kirk. You can't make this kind of stuff up. And to be able to do it and to continue and then to have been able to pass it on, because there are a number of people that we worked with over the years that have gone on to do some incredible work and continue to do incredible work. And not only in the arts, but in politics and in entertainment and in communication and education. And some of that has come about as a result of us not being limited to what we have done. We had the opportunity, and I talked about you earlier in terms of the project, the Jean-Baptiste Pointe Sabre project. We went to Haiti, we went to Louisiana, we went to, and shot some of it in Chicago. And to be able to tell the story of the first non-native settler in Chicago, that really gets very limited recognition, was a wonderful thing to be able to do. And to have that story continue. I remember us interviewing a little boy after we did a presentation in a school. And this little black boy said at the end of it was, I can safely say that I'm standing on the ground that was founded by somebody that looked like me. Mm. When you have the opportunity to reach people in that way, that you know it's going to be sustained by them forever, there's nothing more important than that. A star should not be determined by name recognition, but by contributions made and lives touched. That's what greatness is wrapped around. Not the fact that somebody knows who you are. It's about what has your contribution been? What's going to be there when the world is over, when your world is over? What do you leave behind in terms of your legacy? What is it that's there? And that legacy can basically be your children that you leave on. It could be, you know, a book that you've done or a song. It could be almost anything, but you have to at least at some point recognize the importance of being able to sustain what you have done and then pass it on. The only reason that I can pull this stuff out and talk about it is because we kept it. And so one of the things that I would say to people that are in the business is document yourself and put the date on it. The only thing that I'm disappointed about with a number of these things is that a lot of times during that early period, we didn't include the years. You would say March 7th, but you wouldn't include the years. The other thing that was devastating, that is one of my most impactful moments, was the loss of our grandson. We were on the way to Pemon Static's opening.
We had just arrived.
We had just arrived at the opening of his new exhibit, and we're getting ready to walk into the room when my phone rang. I think you went in for a second. And we got the news that our grandson, who just made 21, had died of an asthma attack. And it was devastating. It still is. I mean, you can't get beyond the impact of things like that. But what I will say is that I have some incredible memories of the time that we spent with him.
And photographs and documentation.
Yeah, but it was painful.
I know you said you had, and I think a way to deal with that pain sometimes is to put it in its compartment and move forward like we're going to do right now.
I'm with you.
Yes. I know you had some final comments, but in terms of documentation, I know people have always said, when are you going to do your book? When are you going to write a book? And is this what I have in my hand, a beginning of that process?
It is. This was a photo. There's some text in it, but it's a photo recognition of my life over an extended period of time. Starts with the family and then moves all the way through. There's a section in there of my grandparents, great-grandparents that had 72 grandchildren.
Whoa.
That's the section that you just went through there. And so we were able to trace back, on my father's side, 7 generations. And I was able to get pictures, a lot of them, and put together the family tree and the line of order and so forth. And we went around the country for a while, and we would visit our relatives, and I would take a scanner, and I would scan all, that's my baby picture, and I would scan all of the pictures, and then that's 6 generations of folks that are in that picture. But yeah, I began to build this some time ago because, again, I wanted to be able to pass it on to our grandchildren.
Yes. What I like about this is the title, Beyond Expectation.
Yeah, because people ask you, did you envision anything that you're doing? And I was sitting on a boat off the coast of Venezuela. Robert Townsend and I, we were out there doing a project together. And we sat there, and Robert said, it's a long way from the west side. And I echoed that.
It's a long way from Stateway Gardens.
Long way from Stateway Gardens. I never felt, and I still to this day don't, I never felt that I was limited. Now, I don't know if that was my father or my mother, and it probably had something to do with them, but I never felt that I had any limitations. So when I was young, I would get on the L here, and I would just go north, Or when I became old enough to make money and to travel, I shot out. I went traveled all over the country. I've been to almost every state except for Alaska. So it was part of my desire to get beyond the scope of what people consider limitations and in fact, reach the world. So one day we were sitting on the couch. We were watching the Jay Leno show, I think, at the time. And there was a couple that was on that had done a documentary about chimpanzees. So we were watching these folks, and they had the chimpanzee, and they were going through this thing. And so at the end of it, he said, so what are you going to do next? And the guy says, we're doing elephants. So we're sitting there, and we go, well, wouldn't that be cool? Just do elephants, and then do chimpanzees. And we had the good fortune of being able to do projects in Brazil and in Haiti and in Nigeria and Trinidad and Ghana, and all because I think we saw that show and didn't feel that there was enough limitations to keep us from being able to do it.
Limitless.
Limitless.
All right,
yes.
Birthday man. We're going to wrap this up. I do think that people will feel as though they might know you a little bit better after this video. And we are all expecting continued greatness past these 70 years for as long as the divine creator grants it.
I appreciate that. And to have you to do this is always special.
You make it easy.
Well, there's nobody else on the planet that knows me as well as you do. And you don't spend 52 years of working together and 40-something years of marriage without having some insight. And one of the things that I said to you when we were dating was that if we ever separated, I still want to work with you. You still make a great business partner. And I feel that way now, and I felt it then. I have been able to work with some incredible people over my lifetime, a lot of which are famous, A lot of which
Could be famous.
should be famous.
Should be.
Finally.
Yes.
As most people know us, we're always on time, you know, or early. We're not late.
That way in terms of that.
So when I did Mahogany, and you talked about how many people I had to get together. Well, one night I had to switch, like 300 people, I had to switch it to something else. And I get to locate, and I was also burning both candles at both ends. That's a whole other thing.
That was before we were married.
Before we were married.
Really
So, well, anyway. I get to location late. Barry Gordy comes over to me and he says, "Do you see all these people that are around here?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I've been paying all of them waiting for you. Can you imagine how much money you just cost me being late?" I have not been late since then. And that was in the early 70s. It had that much of an impact on me. But I'm not late. You know, you don't do that. You know, so.
Kind of disrespectful.
70.
Yes.
My last comment on 70, first of all, I want to thank everybody that has taken the time to say something that has contributed to my life, that has worked for me, that I have worked for. Because it is all of them that has helped me to arrive at this day. And I wish and hope that all of them, everybody that's watching, will be able to glean just a little opportunity to move their lives in a way that they will contribute to the upliftment and the salvation of the world. Because this is the only one we have right now. And it's important for us to get to a point where the children are safe. Because it is in the understanding of what we're doing to raise our children that afford us the opportunity to survive. So I hope that they will keep pushing forward. And I hope that at 80, we might do another one.
Let's put that on the calendar. Okay? I love you. I love doing this. Happy birthday. Happy 70th. Enjoy your year.